This is test review topics 1 and 2. We're going to start with number 1. Number 1 asks us to graph y equals the square root of x plus 3. I know that the square root graph looks like this. I'm going to have to shift that graph over, so I'm going to pull out the x plus 3 equals 0. Subtract the 3 over. Now I know that x equals negative 3. So if I go over to negative 3, it's right there. And because there's nothing right here, that means y is 0, so I don't have to shift it up or down. So I'm just going to draw my graph. Okay, so with number 2, the next problem is y equals the absolute value of x plus 1 minus 3. This one I'm going to shift to the left. X is going to equal negative 1. Fix that right there. And then also, this is where the y goes. Y equals negative 3. So, where the point is 0, 0 here, right there. Now the new point is going to be negative 1, negative 3. I'm going to shift it left 1, down 3. About right there. Okay. So that's shifting left and right, up and down when you're drawing a parent function that has a translation to it. Let's do the next one. For number 3, we have y equals x minus 4 squared. That's going to be a parabola. Again, I'm going to go ahead and take the x minus 4 out. I'm going to add 4 over so I can find out what x equals. That means that x is going to be equal or shifted right 4. Right there. I'm just going to draw my parabola because there's nothing on the side here, so I'm not shifting it up or down. Okay. For number 4, we have y equals x minus 1 cubed plus 2. The parent function is a cubic, so I'm going to go ahead and draw that real quick. And then we'll figure out which way we're going to shift it. We're going to take the x minus 1 out, and so therefore x equals 1, so we're going to shift it to the right 1, and right here y is going to equal 2. And therefore my new point is going to shift right 1 up 2. So right 1 up 2 is about right there. And then I'm just going to draw my cubic right there. Okay. Review your parent functions. Review what the graph should look like where the point is 0, 0, or it may be 0, 1 if you're talking about exponential. Okay, next problem. Number 5 asks us to find the inverse. Remember that this means inverse, okay? And it wants to find the inverse of y equals 3x minus 2. So I'm going to switch the x and the y. Okay. Be careful when you're doing this. In order to get that 2 on the other side, you want to add it to both sides. These are not like terms. You have to write them. X plus 2 equals 3y. Okay. In order to get the y over there, I'm going to have to divide it. Okay. And so therefore, my answer is y equals 1/3 x plus 2/3. And that's how you find the inverse of an equation. Okay? All right, so for number 6, it says, what is the domain and range of the function f? This is simply just listing the numbers out. When you list them out, you're going to use little curly braces. Okay? So for the domain, we're going to list out -2, -1. These do not connect, so it's nothing like an inequality or an interval notation where you're going to show a range, 0 and 2. Okay? The range is going to be 2, 1, and 0. We do not have to repeat. If the number repeats, then we don't have to repeat that number. In this case, the answer should be B. Watch out for how they list them. Notice that on the range, they're listing it in order 0, 1, 2 instead of 2, 1, 0. That's okay. We just have to follow what the question is asking us. Okay, number 7. Describe how the graph of the second function relates to the graph of the first function. So the first function graph is y equals the absolute value of x. And the second function has a translation. The translation right here is down 3. So we want to find an answer that says that is being shifted down 3. So the answer is J. Okay, next problem. So number 8 is a lengthy problem. It's four parts. F of x is equal to 3x minus 6, and g of x is equal to negative 5x plus 7. They're asking us to do an operation with each one of these. So let's start with A. For A, we are supposed to take f of x, 3x minus 6, and we're supposed to add it to 2 times g of x. G of x is negative 5x plus 7. See how I am just plugging the expressions in based on which function they're telling me to use. Okay? So this is going to be 3x minus 6 plus negative 10x, I'm going to distribute the 2, plus 14, which equals negative 7x and plus 11. Okay, so that is A. All right, let's do B. B is to subtract, so we're going to take 3x minus 6, and we're going to subtract 3 times g of x. G of x is negative 5x plus 7. Alrighty. So that's going to be 3x minus 6. A negative 3 times a negative 5, if I'm distributing, is a positive 15. And negative 3 times 7 is negative 21. Okay. Negative 3x plus 15x is 18x. And negative 6 plus negative 21 is a negative 27. All right, let's do C. C is different because it asks us to multiply. So we're going to FOIL 3x minus 6 and negative 5x plus 7. If I FOIL that, I'm going to do FOIL, which is first, outer, inner, and last. Okay, so I'm going to do 3x, okay, times the 5x, all right, and then I'm going to do 3x times the 7. I'm just writing it out for you so you can see it. Okay, and then that was the first and the outer. Now I'm going to do the inner, which is negative 6 times negative 5x. And then the last is negative 6 times 7. That'll give us negative 15x squared. And then plus 21x. And then plus 30x. And then minus 42. Which, if I add those two middle terms together, my final answer will be negative 15x squared plus 21x, plus 51x minus 42. And that'll be my final answer. Okay, we need to do 8D. Okay, so here is D. For D, it is a composite, f of g of x. I could also write this like this. If you see either one of these notations, it means that you're going to put g of x into f of x. You're going to take the middle or the inside function and you're going to put it into the one that's on the outside. So in this case, we're going to take g of x, which is negative 5x plus 7. We're going to put it into f. F is 3 times x minus 6. So we're taking g and we're putting it into the x inside of f. Okay, so this is going to be f of g of x. All right, equals. Okay, so now I just need to distribute, which if I do that here, I will have negative 15x plus 21 minus 6. So the answer is going to be negative 15x plus 15. And there's my final answer for 8D. Okay, let's do our next problem. Yes. Okay. So in the next problem, it's an absolute value equation that goes right 3 and up 4, about right there. Okay. And if I go right 3 and up 4, I know this is x equal 3. I know this is y equal 4. Okay. All right. So, also what I can do is if you subtract the 3 on the other side for the x, you get this, which is actually what's supposed to go inside of the new equation. So it's asking us to write an equation. So I'm going to write y equals, it's an absolute value, so I'm going to go ahead and make my absolute value. I'm going to put my x minus 3 on the inside, which is a little bit more than what we've talked about before. Usually we say if it's right 3, it's going to be minus 3. If it's left 3, it's going to be plus 3. But I just want to show you if you just move that 3 back over, you'll get your x minus 3. And then for the 4, it's just the plus 4. And that is my final answer. For number 10, it's a parabola that is left 2 up 1. So I'm left 2 up 1. Go about right there. And then draw that. Okay? So I'm going left 2 up 1. Again, if x, that's a -2, if x equals -2, if I add that over, I get x plus 2. That's what I need inside the equation. So I'm going to write my equation. I've got y equals parentheses. It's a parabola, so I'm going to put the 2 on the outside. I'm going to put the x plus 2. Okay, and then I'm going to put my up 1 to finish it off. And that'll give me my answer for this one. Okay, next problem. To finish 12, we're going to do C with the function of -2 x squared minus 3. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to plug in -2. -2 squared is a negative times a negative. That's going to be 4. It's this -2 right here times the 4 that's going to give us -8. -8 and -3 will make a -11. Let's plug in 0 this time. Let's see what we get. Remember, these are the numbers we're plugging into x. So 0 goes into x squared is 0. 0 times -2 is 0. And when we add that to -3, we get a -3. Okay, and we're going to plug in 2. Okay, which 2 squared is 4. Again, 4 times 2 is -8. So this again is going to be -11. Okay, let me just say one thing about these problems. I'm doing them in this video to save time. I'm doing most of them in my head. But you are going to want to show your work so that you can get all the credit, just in case you make a mistake. And it's certainly possible that I could make a mistake. Okay. All right, so we've got the last expression. I'm using these numbers again. So I'm going to put in -2. Okay. A -2 cubed is a negative times a negative times a negative, which is going to be a negative. And 2 cubed is 8. So it's going to be -8. A -8 plus a -3, again, is a -11. And guess what? If you put 0 into x cubed, you're going to get -3 again, because 0 times 0 times 0 is still just 0. Here's where things change a little bit. This 2, if I put in a 2 and I get a positive 8, 8 minus 3 is 5. And that will finish number 12. Our next problem is to tell the equation for a square root that is right 3 and up 1. Right there. Okay, so I'm going to go right 3, which that means x equals 3, and up 1, which means y equals 1. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and write my equation with my square root symbol there. Okay. I know the up 1 is on the outside. Remember that if I took this 3 and subtracted it over, this is what I would get. Okay, so this is going to be x minus 3. That is what's going to move that graph to the right. Remember, it has to be opposite. So there's our answer for number 13. For number 14, I have a cubic. It is left 1 and up 4. So it's about right there. Oops, I think we said it was a cubic. There we go. Okay, and I'm going left 1 and up 4. So left 1 means a negative. So if I say x equals -1 and then pull that 1 over on the other side, I will have x plus 1. So that's what I want to use in my equation. So I'm going to go y equals, I like the color, changing color, y equals, this is a cubic. Remember to put the cube on the outside. Some people will miss that. Put the x plus 1 on the inside, and then the up 4 goes on the outside for the y. And there's our answer for number 14. Okay. For number 15, it says that in Houston, the Texas average high temperature during the month of December is 65 degrees. It can fluctuate by going up 5 degrees or down 5 degrees. Here's what I'm thinking. It's an absolute value. I've got 65 in the middle. That's my middle number. I can go up 5 degrees, which are actually my x's. Or I can go down 5 degrees. Okay, so I want an equation. I'm always going to be, on these types of problems, it's going to be less than or equal to, and I'm going to have x minus. This is your middle number from your graph. That's your middle number. So this is the number that you want. It's going to go right here. And I want a fluctuation or a tolerance of 5 degrees. So the answer is going to be absolute value of x minus 65 is less than or equal to 5. It's asking for equation. The reason why it's asked for equation, it's looking for the minimum and maximum temperatures. So depending on how it's worded, I would go with that. So what's the answer going to be? In this case, we're going to use the equal sign. So the answer is going to be D. Okay? Where it uses an equal sign instead of a less than or equal to. All right, let's do 16. 16 is actually kind of different. It says to multiply functions f and g. So we're going to multiply f. There's the expression for f. And we're going to multiply g. Okay? And a lot of people when they were working this problem, they had a hard time with looking at all those negatives and the ones and everything. So this is what we did. We took this guy and we multiplied him first, and then we'll do this one second. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do this one first. We're going to go x, and we're going to multiply over here. So we're going to go x times 1 minus x. Okay, and then we're going to add, and now we're going to do this one. So we're going to do -1 times 1 minus x. This is basically FOIL, but I'm actually writing it out this time so that you can see it. So now this makes it a little bit easier to see. I'm going to go and I'm going to distribute this one and this one by writing it all out. So this is going to be x minus x squared plus -1, and that negative here and here is going to give me a positive x. Okay, so now I have, let's start off with the one with the bigger exponent. So now I have this x squared, so it's -x squared. Okay, so I've dealt with that one, and I have two x's here. I have 1, 2, so I'm going to make this a 2x. So I've dealt with this one and this one. Let's change colors here so you can see that. This one, and this one. Okay, and the only one that I have left is that -1. Okay, so the answer is negative x squared plus 2x minus 1. So the answer is going to be G. Okay, I'm going to break up this test review into 2 videos. This is the end of the first video. Thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.